Hey, this is Derica, your host on the Happiness Recipe Show 2.0, where top experts are sharing their personal stories of breaking through their own fear and resistance and into their happy life and how you can do the same. I'm super excited to speak with our top expert today, Kelsey Aida. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I always love having a good, empowering conversation that's going to help a lot of people.
Oh, we're going to get into the juicies today. This is going to be great. You guys, I'm going to jump right into her bio so we can get to know her a little bit more. And then we're going to get into those big questions. Now, before I forget, you guys, blue pen, blue pen, white paper, get your notebook, your journal, get it ready, you guys, because I just know there's going to be some nuggets of gold here. Okay, we're going to get our happy on. All right, so Kelsey Aida is a next generation thought leader who has taught thousands of people how to own their power and win at life through her inspirational blog, online courses, one-on-one coaching, and international retreats. Ooh, that's juicy. We're going to get into that too. She's also the author of hashtag Actually I Can, the art of affirming yourself to greatness. And then the next book, which we're going to talk more about today, Affirmations for Happiness, and co-host of the popular personal development podcast, High Vibin' It. Yes. So we're going to visit more at kelseyaida.com to learn how to manifest the life of your dreams, which that link will be below this video and also what we're going to talk about later at the show. But again, thank you, Kelsey, for being here. Yes. Girl, can you just start and let us know, like, your story? What led you to doing all that amazing stuff we just mentioned?
Yeah, so it all started in the contrast, the dark night of the soul, the spiritual awakening. When I was in my late teens, early adulthood, I suffered from a severe depression and I was stuck in it for about 3 years. And I just like had to find a way out, and I decided, universe, I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. I'm ready to learn how to enjoy my life. And honestly, I need to. Otherwise, the only other option to end my suffering is like to get out, right? So
Yeah. Mm.
that was kind of my ultimatum to my life and myself. And in that moment, I just started like manifesting the right perceptions and therapists and friends and resources and tools to kind of help me climb out of it. And once I started to feel better, I was just like, everybody needs to have access to these tools and know how to do this. And this is so helpful and so healing and so empowering. And so that's when I decided that I wanted to be a personal development author and teach self empowerment. But obviously, nobody knew who I was back then. So I was like, well, I guess I won't just start with my first book. I'll start with a blog. So then when I write the book, there will actually be people who want to read it. So
Yeah.
it started as a blog, and then books, and then online courses, and then coaching and retreats. And now it's evolved into a podcast. And
Mm.
yeah, I just really love helping people to enjoy their life to the fullest and just make things easier, because it can be hard to be a person.
Oh, yeah. It is. It is tricky being human for sure.
Hmm.
I want to go deep into that because there's so many of us that are suffering from depression. Just deep sadness, whatever label we put on it, it's just a deep sadness. Painful times, right?
Hmm.
What was your resistance? What was keeping you in depression back then? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so a lot of it was judging myself and my
Mm.
experience and making it wrong to feel how I
Yeah.
felt. Or also just not understanding, like, why do I feel like this? Like, I shouldn't feel like this. My life is great. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, it's the meanings that we assign to the feelings that make them like doubly as painful. If I had just been sad and allowed myself to feel sad, I probably would have processed it much more quickly and came out the other side in way less time. But
Mm.
instead, I was just resisting the whole thing. And so I just made it harder on myself.
We all do that. We're just like,
Mhm.
fix me. What's wrong with me? I'm broken. We're
Yeah.
trying to run from this, which I heard you say that's the perfect word for resistance. We're resisting it, which is persisting, right? It's like
Mhm.
keeping that in
Right.
our life.
Well, it's a push energy, which
Yeah.
is very exhausting and it doesn't work. So I've been more so in the space of, because especially in the personal development world and the self help world, we all come to it because we're not feeling good. You wouldn't like stumble upon this information if you were like, my life is perfect and everything's amazing. Like you would just be happy living your life, right? So there's some sort of pain already happening that you are wanting to get rid of. And so you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this personal development. I'm gonna go into self help. I'm gonna learn all these affirmations. I'm gonna do all this stuff.
Mhm.
And the tools can be helpful in the right moment, but you have to be careful that you're using them at the right time and in a way where you're not trying to push against what you don't want, you know?
Right. Okay. That's good too. We're going to dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So just so it was a self-judgment for you. You were judging yourself.
Yeah, I was judging myself. I wasn't understanding why I was feeling like that. And it was kind of the perfect storm because there was hormonal imbalances from being on birth control.
Mhm.
There was the love of my life, like dancing. I was training to be a professional ballet dancer my whole life, and I was suffering a lot of injuries. And so I couldn't dance, I couldn't perform. And also, I was just generally lacking intimacy with friends, family, myself. I wasn't having a lot of deep emotional connection, even though I had a lot of like nice, good people around me. There just wasn't that depth that I need to feel connected. So the disconnect, the sadness, the hopelessness, the hormones, it just all made this perfect storm to just like crumble.
Oh yeah, I can feel everyone's like, uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's been there to some
Like we're
capacity.
like, yes, I get it.
Yeah.
We all can relate to a flavor of that.
hmm
That lacking intimacy, it's really we're afraid of letting people in, right? Because there's pain in there. It's
Yeah.
scary. There's sadness in there. If we open ourselves up, we can get hurt again and like all that stuff. So I remember that for me, I really didn't, I had friends, but they didn't really know me. You feel like that too? Like it was so surface.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even really know me, so
Yeah.
how could they? Like, it goes for yourself and with others. Like, my relationship with myself was not as intimate as it could be, and my relationship with others was just a mirror of that. So,
Perfectly said. It is. And I think you guys replay that. That's a big cookie to crumble right there. Really to sit with the relationships we have with everything outside of ourselves is reflection of ourselves. Just
yeah,
the
because if you think about it from that spiritual lens, that you are everything, we're all one, we're all connected, you're just a version of me, I'm a version of you, or we're parts of each other, then it's like how I experience you is literally me experiencing myself,
Mhm.
right? But when we look at it from like a perspective of I'm Kelsey
Yeah.
and you're another person and they're another person, they're another person, we look separate, right? So we think it's an outside relationship. But
Yeah.
then you can look at those dynamics and ask, well, are there parts of me that I relate to in that way? And maybe you're a reflection of a part of me, and I'm a reflection of a part of you. And it's just that universal law of like so within, so without, the law of mirroring, the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm such a big self-love advocate and like help your relationship with yourself because that's going to make the biggest difference in your romantic partnerships, your friendships, your family, your coworkers, because how you relate to yourself is how you relate to others.
Yes. Yes. How we treat ourselves, how we're treating others and being treated by others.
hmm
That is so powerful. You guys take notes. Take notes on what she just said here. And that's something we can talk for days on.
Oh
We're
yeah.
gonna, right? We're still talking about it.
hmm
It's beautiful. Gosh, I want to go deeper into that, but we'll
Uh-huh.
just kind of want to let everyone know to sit and reflect and think about, how is your relationships with others, and don't do this judgmental. I would say just kind of go into it and just
Yeah, just
look,
from a place
right?
of like curiosity.
Yeah,
Like,
delicious.
let's look at this. Not to make it mean anything bad about you or your life. You don't need to judge yourself for it. Just looking with curiosity is always a good way.
Yeah. I remember when I was told that I was too hard on loved ones.
Mhm.
You got loved ones, you guys. Look at the ones very closest to you. That's when like the real stuff is out there.
Right.
I remember that it was like, "You're so hard on me." And then I was like, "Holy crap, I'm hard on myself."
Because there's parts of you that are like, "You're so hard on me," like,
Yeah.
internally, but if you don't listen to
Yes.
them, they just, like, show up in your outer world because
Hey,
we notice that more.
yeah, that's the mirror, you guys. You'll see them, and your kids, if you have kids, they'll be the first one to
Yeah, or another example, like, my ex was so hypercritical of me and so back and forth about me, and then I look at myself and I'm like, "Well, of course he's like that because I'm like that to me. I'm hypercritical of myself.
I
This
know.
is just showing me that."
And we don't like to admit this, you guys.
Mm-mm.
This is
Mm-mm.
that's why there's a part of being vulnerable and healing where you just gotta let it out. Let that
Well, we
dark
all do the
out.
same stuff, so it's like, okay, you're just a human. Like, you have to allow space for your humanity.
Yeah, we're all in this. We're all the same, you guys, and understanding. But yeah, that's good. So look at the outside. The outside will tell you what's going on the inside.
Yeah, it's like a thermometer. You don't have to judge the temperature. You just are looking at it to see, oh, what's the weather today? What's the weather of my life, of my internal realm?
I love how you're so calm about it, and that's beautiful.
That's because I had done a lot of work around
Yeah,
this.
I can tell, girl. Let me praise you for a moment because I know
Thank you.
that took you a lot of sacrifice, a lot of healing, a
A
lot of
lot of
time,
tears, a
a
lot of
lot of
stress.
crying. Oh,
Mhm.
to be that, you guys, and that's really what it's messy. Healing is messy, but we start here, right? Mm, that's good stuff, you guys. Okay. What did you do? So you remember you're back then, early adolescent here,
Mhm.
and you had that breakdown. What was the breakthrough for you? What was something? It was probably a combination, but what
Yeah.
do you remember was like boom, like really shot you out of that?
Yeah, it was a lot of things, but I would say one of the biggest initiators was a change in perspective. So instead of saying, I am my depression or I'm a depressed person,
Yeah.
I just one day realized, like, well, I wasn't always like this. So it must not actually be like me. Something's off here. I don't think this is my true self or my true nature.
Mm,
And that must mean that I'm just sick because it is a mental illness as they categorize it after all. So, I mean, when I get sick with like a cold, I get over it. When I get sick with the flu, like my body knows how to heal itself. So, why wouldn't this be the same? Like, maybe my emotional body knows how to heal itself if I would just let it and stop um clinging to like the payoffs of the depression, because there are payoffs of being in that victim mentality and people coming to your rescue and the whole thing. It's like it can a lot of times be a manipulative way to get your needs met, but you don't even realize that you're doing it. It's all subconscious.
that's
So when
yeah.
I realized, like, oh, I'm probably just sick, and like every time I get sick I get better, that was when things really started to change for me. And I wasn't saying like I am my depression, but I was like, I'm just depressed temporarily, like right now, you know
Yeah.
um, and that really helped to shift a lot.
Oh, there's so much gold in that, you guys. There, replay that part too. That was so much. I'm like, oh, that was juicy. And you just land it with that because a lot of us form that identity.
Mhm.
I just
Yeah.
have anxiety. Like this is just who I am. I'm an anxious person or I'm a depressed person. But that was just it was a shift in who we are. It's not who we are,
Well,
right?
it's probably just a part of who you are. And we lose sight that it's just like one part, Like just because you're someone who tends to be in an anxious space a lot, it doesn't mean you are anxiety. It means you have a part of you that's very anxious.
Yeah.
But when you can learn to understand why and you can start to love that part for trying to help you and the value that it actually does bring to your life and how much it cares about you, you can integrate that part and create more wholeness and become like the observer of yourself and all these different like personalities that you have inside of you. But what happens is when we are in that part, so let's say I'm having an anxious day and I feel like, oh, I'm an anxious person, I can blend with that part and forget that it's just a part of me, and then I get consumed by it.
Mm-hmm. Taken over by it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Then it's your whole day, then it's your week, then it's your month.
Right. Then it's a mood, and then it's a theme, and then it's, yeah.
Yeah, you guys, this is good. And then I also loved how you said there's payoffs because I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, no, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're not
I'm not
gonna be
doing this for
happy.
any good reason,
Yeah,
any
I'm
valid
not gonna be
reason.
sad for your attention. Like, what are you doing?
You
And
have
it's
to be like
subconscious. Yeah.
brutally honest with yourself in this healing practice. If you truly want authentic happiness, you're not going to get there by lying to yourself. You might have to face some pretty hard truths.
You gotta go deep, guys. Yeah, you gotta watch yourself. Be the observer, as she said. Sitting back and watching. A lot of it is just goes unconscious. It's just
Yeah.
happening autopilot until you face it, right? You face it to heal it, and so you'll see some stuff, but it's just parts of you. I like how you just said too. Like, yeah, there's moments I'll be angry or anxious, that's kind of being in the human experience.
Yeah.
But if we normalize that stuff, it's like it serves and goes,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and I think that's part of my whole happiness teaching kick right now is like the less you put pressure on yourself to be happy and the more you give grace and space for when you're feeling emotions that don't look like happiness, the faster you're actually going to resolve those and keep coming back to your natural state of joy, contentment, happiness, instead of having to fake it till you make it or that type of approach, because I can be sad, and if I fully embrace it and be with my sadness, it will pass pretty quickly and then I'll go back to feeling good again. But if you're sad and you say, oh, I don't have time for this, I don't want to feel like this, I should be happy, this is not okay, I hate it, blah, 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 you're just going to suppress, deny, and disown it. And no resolution takes place, and therefore the sadness just like festers in your emotional body, and then you wonder why your life becomes sad because that's now your point of attraction.
Yeah. Oh, write that down. That is
People think, oh, my thoughts attract everything. No, no, no. Your emotions do too. And you can't lie to the universe and pretend that you're all happy when you're not. So
nope.
it's best to tend to any distress that you do have, and you'll naturally come and go in happiness. I don't think it's like a very fair expectation for anyone to expect themselves to be happy all the time because that's just not life.
Right.
So when you're happy, embrace it, celebrate it, enjoy it. And when you're not, tend to those feelings so you can get back to that place more quickly.
There you go. You hit it right on the head. It's like it's not 100%. That would be boring. We wouldn't even know what happiness was.
Right. You wouldn't know without the contrast that you were actually
Yeah.
happy.
That's so delicious. That's so good. And I love everything you just said was that what we resist persists, you guys. So if we're screaming at just be happy, why can't you get your shit together? Or why can't you, whatever it is, it's like, dang, we're just calling forth that same pressure,
Yeah.
same stuff. I hear you say surrender. It's like this mode, just
Mhm.
be okay.
Yeah, it's just embracing your humanity and just making it okay to feel how you feel because that's how you drop the resistance.
Love that. Oh, that's juicy. Okay. Let's go into because I know you've worked with thousands of people and we love stories. Can you
Uh-huh.
tell us a client testimonial, someone where you took them from where they were into where they want to be?
Yeah, so a lot of my one-on-one clients are just like me. They have very anxious parts, very sad parts, and so we do a lot of parts work to help heal that. And
Mhm.
oh man, I'm just trying to think of like one specific example, but let me give a general example that happens to everybody. And
Okay.
then maybe if a specific one comes up, we'll go into that.
Okay.
The work that I do with people is holding space and giving them compassion to allow them to feel how they feel. And relief comes so quickly. It is literally like magic. It's like emotional alchemy. I'll just say, okay, do some deep breathing. Just make it okay to feel how you feel. Let's let that feeling rise in your body. How is it feeling? It's a mindfulness practice where you're integrating your emotions. How is it feeling in your body? How intense is the sensation? Is it in your, like, what area of the body is it in? How does it feel? Um, and let's just be with that for as long as we can. And people just breathe through it and they watch it happen. And then it could be like 5 breaths later, oh, it's feeling better. 5 more breaths later, oh, I feel relaxed now.
Yeah.
I'm like, see, when you just open yourself up and be with what's there, it resolves on its own. The problem is we just don't give ourselves the time and the space to do that because we don't want to be uncomfortable, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But it's the uncomfortability going through that that gets you to the at the end.
Yes, I love it. I love it. You guys got to be in the discomfort because that's where we're going to break through. Oh, that is so good. And you're right. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist too. And so there's just moments where they're coming like, ooh, we're tense as a
Mhm.
ball. Even myself, I'll be like, oh, tense. And then like you'll see them, right?
Yeah.
You just,
Yeah, and, like, okay, so I do have a specific example. So the
yeah.
other day, I was working with one of my clients, and she's been having this unhealed,
Mm.
like, lump in her throat, like, this weird, like, tense, like, throat chakra blockage for, like, years because it has to do with this whole she dated a sociopath, and it was very traumatic and whatever. So fast forward to the other day when we had our session and I did my thing. I helped her breathe through it. We asked the throat for a message, blah, blah, blah. We did all this stuff. And 5 minutes later, she was like, this is the easiest I've ever been able to breathe. My throat feels fine now. The lump is gone. Before, I felt like I could only breathe from here to here, and I had
Mm.
to like try hard to bring the breath down to have a full breath. Now she's breathing clear. She started crying because she just felt such a sense of relief. Like, this is what just being unconditionally present with yourself can do. And it's hard to do it on your own, which is why I recommend starting with a practitioner of some kind, like how I did, and like how she's doing with me. And I think it's really important that we hold space for each other.
Yes, you're so right. I always tell people we didn't come here on a deserted planet to like
Yeah.
by ourselves, right? We're co-creators. We're in this together. It really is about reaching out to Kelsey, reaching out to someone you love and trust, going out there and we have blind spots. There's
Yeah.
things, right? It's challenging to observe ourselves. So having that extra person that's holding space for you and love with you, as Kelsey's saying, that's where it's at. And that's what it takes.
Yeah. I think it's very,
Mm.
very wise to resource yourself in that department, whether it's a good friend, a therapist, a coach, a hypnotherapist. Like, there are people who are trained, there are people who are just naturally compassionate, it just depends.
Yeah. Go with your heart on this one, guys, and just make that leap of faith. Reach out. Okay, that was so good. I love that story. I love it because everyone's like, yes, after taking that deep breath is sometimes
Mhm.
really hard when we hold it all right here on our chest. So many
Yeah.
of us suffer from that anxiety, right? And those panic attacks and just feeling like the
Mhm.
weight of the world is on our chest. So
Mhm.
being able to let go and like fully breathe sounds little, but the biggest gift. It's huge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you tell the person that is watching right now? They want to be happy. They want to let go of that
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
resistance, right? They so want to. And then they have this little Debbie Downer that's in
Uh-huh.
their head.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, you can't be, you're not lucky. You won't
Mhm.
make it, you'll fail. Whatever, the sabotaging voice in their head and it's stopping them. What would you tell that person right now if you could just like shake into
Yeah. If I could just be like,
yeah, like
I would be like, I would say, I would say, stop resisting how you feel. This is why you're not happy.
take it
It's
out.
gonna be okay. The happiness will come naturally after the processing, which you haven't done because you're too busy fighting how you feel, which is okay. So sometimes you just start with being present with the resistance rather than the actual feeling. So let's say you feel sad, but you're annoyed about that and you don't actually want to feel sad. So you're just like, I don't want to feel sad.
Yeah.
You can just sit with that for a few moments. Just be with that feeling of not wanting to be sad. Just make it okay that you don't want to be sad. And then after some time with that, you'll probably notice that the sadness will start to creep in. You'll be like, oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I can say bad words here.
We're good.
Okay. And then the sadness might start to come. And then if I was your coach, I'd be like, it's okay. It's not going to hurt you. I'm right here. We'll get through it together. And just I think emotional processing, like, is the best way that I found. All the happiness practices are great on the other side of the processing.
Yeah.
So if you're using affirmations to avoid feeling sad, is not going to be helpful. If you're using law of attraction because you're trying to get out of something that you're in resistance to, also not helpful. Like, you have to be where you're at, and then things will naturally heal and unfold. Yeah, that's my spiel.
Yeah. Ooh, I love it. That was good. I felt they were shaking. They were like,
That's because I have to shake myself like that. Be like, Kelsey, you know this. But that's also why I have a facilitator to remind me, because I go into my blind spots too. Like, yesterday, I had a session with him, and thank God, because I was having a hard time with those Pisces energies. Oh, man.
yes. Coaches have coaches, you guys. Like,
Yeah. I mean, no one does, you can't do it alone, and you shouldn't, and you don't need to. So, yeah.
no, that spoke into him. That landed for sure because it's no more running, you guys. No more running. Nothing's wrong with you. Sit and cry. Let it out, you
Yeah.
guys. Be
Nothing's wrong with that. It doesn't The
mm,
thing is, you don't have to make it mean that you're going to be sad forever, or that something's wrong with you, or that you shouldn't be feeling like that, or that this means that something is wrong with your life. Like, literally, how you feel can just mean, this is how I feel right now.
yeah.
Period. The end. I'm a person. We have feelings.
I'm loving this. So good. We're all okay. We're all normal. We got this.
Yeah.
Oh, that was some brilliant coaching. I love that.
Thank you. That's why they pay me the big bucks, you know? It's
There you
that
go.
magic.
You're doing You're putting the work, you guys. Could you give us one of those? You've already given us so much here. Is there one personal happy hack that you do where, besides calling the coach when you can, but that you just do on your
Yeah.
own, that when you get a little down, like
Mhm.
what do you do?
I think the thing is to really, like, beat it before it happens. So just, like, set
Mm,
a good stage to set yourself up to, like, feel good. So this is where, like, daily habits and rituals come in. So I spend a lot of time in the sun. I go for walks outside, or I'll sit next to the window and just, like, take in the sun. I get lots of sleep. I drink lots of water, green juice. I exercise like 5 days a week,
okay.
to get my endorphins going. I meditate when I can. I do work that I love. I just set my life up in a way that really promotes and enables me to be in joy a lot. Does
Yeah.
that mean I'm happy all the time? No, I'm a person, but I'm happy a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is where I prefer to be.
That's
So I
okay.
would say just getting ahead of it. And then when I notice that I'm, like, slipping, I'll either just make it okay to slip for a moment and it passes quickly, or I will just question, like, why is this really happening? Am I hormonal today? Did something trigger me? Just
Mhm.
having the awareness of, like, why am I feeling like this right now?
Yes, I love that. Okay, so she gave us two really good ones. Getting out in front of it, setting your life up. And you guys, that's a huge, we got to start where we're at. Some of our lives, it's shitty everywhere we turn, but just starting out with like, all right, I'll just start with the relationship. I'll just start with myself. I'll just then start with the job, like whatever it is. I love just getting out ahead of it. Let's just keep coming back and getting it, like fine tuning our life as much as we can, and what makes.
Yeah, and your emotions are a tool to do that. Like, your anger is telling you, like, where your boundaries are and what you would
Yeah.
rather be experiencing. And usually your emotions are trying to point you to a personal truth and a personal preference. So when you can allow them and listen to their truth, and not like the meanings that you assign to them, but their actual truth, then it's much easier for you to make the changes necessary in your life to live more in alignment.
Beautiful. Using your emotions as your navigation system, as a
Mhm.
radar for you, letting them tell you. It's kind of like when you're driving on the freeway and it goes boo 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 boo. That when you get angry, it's like, oh, you're getting out of alignment, like whatever you do, right?
Yeah, or it's like, "Oh, you don't like your job," or,
Yeah,
"Oh," whatever.
don't have that
Whatever it's
conversation.
trying to tell you. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And so, yeah, listening to, I love that. I love that you brought that up. That's so important, you guys. Your emotions work for you. Listen to them. They'll let you know if you're out or in, and
Yeah.
if you're out, make adjustments. It's on whatever we're out at, slowly but surely. Make note of it at least. Start there. And then you said asking why. That was something that
Mm,
was also a big piece, you guys. If we can't just shake it off, then maybe we need to go deeper, right? Kelsey's
yeah.
like, ask why. Why are we feeling?
Ask why with like compassionate inquiry,
Mm,
and ask, and if you can't figure out a reason why, just assume that there is a good one for why you feel the way that you feel. Emotions don't just happen for no reason out
mhm.
of nowhere. There's always a valid reason for why you feel the way that you feel. So even if you can't discover what that is on your own, you can at least assume there must be a good reason why I'm feeling like this.
Yeah, that's deep, you guys. There's always a why there. There's always there. Sometimes you have to take a few more deep breaths and quiet your mind to hear it, but you'll get an answer. You'll get an answer of what just happened or what happened back then, what you
Yeah.
got, why you're there. So that's deep. I love that, you guys. Okay. That was all the gold here. And we got one last big gold that we're giving out, that she's going to tell us all about today, you guys. And please, Kelsey, let us in on that amazing thing that you have in your hands right now that you're going to show us and how they're able to cop their copy of that.
Yes. So this is my latest book called Affirmations for Happiness. And it really has 200, I would say, perspectives, mantras, or beneficial thought patterns that you can just open the book to in the morning and try one on like you're trying on an outfit and see how it feels. And this can be used as a tool of like, just general everyday well being, or as like, if you were feeling bad and now you're ready to feel better, this will kind of help give you that little lift that you need. I never say to use it like, this is not the book for you if you're like in the depths of grief or sorrow. This is like once you on the other side of that and you're like, okay, I'm ready to feel better. I want relief. I want to move towards joy. I want to move towards happiness. Or it's just your daily little like happiness little thing that you do when you sip your tea in the morning. Because the way that it works is you can just open to any page and there's going to be an affirmation there for you to just try on for the day. And then it has a little blurb under the affirmation, and they're all in the first person. So you can really try it on. So, like, for example, this one says, I am. I'm awakening to my truth. Whether I'm already conscious of it or not, I'm awakening to my personal truth, which will always lead me to my joy. I wish to become aware of what I'm truly here to do, be, and experience.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so there's just a bunch of little, they're very gentle ways of ushering yourself into happiness and promoting more joy, as opposed to some affirmation resources that are like, I'm happy all the time. I'm the happiest person I know. And it's like so annoying. You're like, ew, that's not even true. Like this book, I try to keep everything really relatable and like authentic. So it doesn't feel phony, because I think that's where affirmations go wrong a
Yeah.
lot of the time.
And this is so inexpensive, you guys, too. I mean, I just,
Yeah, it's just a little $14 book. I didn't have any freebies or anything that were relative to the topic of happiness. So I wanted to just point you guys in the direction of the book, because it's a really great little tool to add to your spiritual toolkit. And it will definitely help you to cultivate more happiness in a really gentle, just lovely, happy way.
yes, girl, get it. Everyone watching right now, 14 bucks. That's a lunch. Get it, you guys. That is powerful. You can open it up. Just the power of that, being able to open up and just know that the page you land on is right for you in that moment. Right? That is a happy.
Yeah, I like to use it like a deck of oracle cards. Like, oh, what's the message that I need this morning? And then I'll just like say a little prayer, and I'll just like flip to a random page.
Yeah.
Let's see. Joy is something I can practice. Most times, joy is a gift that's here when it's here and not when it's not. But perhaps joy can be practiced until it becomes my most natural state. Perhaps I can decide to feel good and keep practicing this feeling over and over. After all, my life is my choice. Why not choose joy?
Oh, it's so real and authentic. And yes, it's gentle but deep, and it's not phony.
Yeah, a lot of people are surprised by how deep it is. They're like, "Oh, this book is so cute. It's gonna be so like happy and like whatever. It's cute, but only it's gonna like change my life." And then they like try on some of the perspectives, and they're like, "Whoa!" Like people will message me and be like, "I really underestimated this book. Like I knew it was gonna be cute and all, but I didn't realize it was actually really gonna help me to change my mind about some things and just look at things from a different lens."
That's the goal,
Yeah.
For more. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, Kelsey. Well, I just want to thank you first for your time, for your energy here, all these beautiful tips and techniques and gold that you just laid out. You poured your heart out onto us for free here. So I thank you so much for these moments. And then thank you everyone for watching us today. You stayed on. I think it's been almost an hour, you guys. We hope you'll never be the same after this show. Please always, email us, keep us posted. I'll make sure Kelsey gets those messages on what this show was able to shift inside of you.
Yeah, you guys can connect with me too on social. Pop me a little message. I love that. I'm just Kelsey Aida, my first and middle name on there. And yeah, grab a copy of the book if you feel inspired. It's really just a beneficial little tool for you guys to have. And make sure you watch all these interviews because they're going to be amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll have all the links below for this goodness, you guys. Thank you and have a wonderful day.